Hey guys, and welcome back to another Actionscript 3 video tutorial on game design. So where we left off last time was we got our game over screen to show up, and we got the button to be clickable, and it restarted our game so we could go back and play again. So what we need to do now is when we start up the game, is we want a start game screen to show up here before we see our score, ammo, or our player or the enemies start showing up on screen. So this will just give the user a little bit of a idea of what's going on. Maybe you can put some instructions in here and then have a button that says click here to start, and then all the action starts happening. But what we're going to be doing for this one is we're going to be using an external movie clip. So the game over screen was an internal movie clip which we kept on the stage. For this one we're actually going to make a new movie clip, or a new FLA file actually. So let's start with that. Our stage size is 550 by 400, so I'm going to start off a new Actionscript 3 document. It's going to be 550 by 400, and I'm just going to draw in here what my start game screen is going to look like. And once again, it's not going to be overly fancy, just something to get the job done. So we'll call our game something very generic. Shooter will do. And I'll just align that to the stage. And then don't need that to be dynamic, it can be static. Same with this one. And we'll just say click here to start. Okay, and we're going to turn this into a movie clip so we can click on it. So I'm going to press F8. And we'll call this button start. Oops. Button start, and we'll give it an instance name of button start as well. Actually, MC start. So, yep, the clip's done. We've got our name on the stage. Now we need to give this a document class, just like we did for our game. And I'm just going to call this MC start game screen. And I'm going to save this file in our first game tutorial. See, where was that? Yeah, that one. So start screen. And we'll save it as that and publish it by pressing Ctrl Enter. And we should see our start screen.swift file is out of my play area. Here we go, start screen.swift. And if we go to Flash Develop in our project, we should see a start screen here and a Swift file. So we've done what we need to there, and we've given it a document class as well called MC Start Game Screen. So what we'll do first is in Flash Develop, we'll create that class which is attached as a document class to this FLA file. So I'm going to say File, Add, New Class, and we'll make this an MC Start Game Screen. And the base class is going to be a movie clip. And press OK. So this class here, it's going to act very similar to our MC Endgame Screen class. And if you look in here, we've got one button. We've set up an event listener. We're sending out a custom event called Play Again, and we've got two methods in here which hides and shows the screen. So I'm going to copy these two methods because they're going to be exactly the same for what we need here. I'll just paste that below our constructor. And then we're going to set up the button as well. So we call our button MC Start. So I'm going to declare it as a public variable up here. MC Start. That's movie clip. So we'll attach an event listener. We're going to listen for a click, and we'll go to start click as our function name. Let's quickly create that. So, and we want button mode. So we get our little hand cursor showing up. And with our start click, we're going to do pretty much the same thing that we have here, except we'll send out a new event. We don't have to send out play again, so we'll dispatch an event It's going to be a new event, and we'll just say start game. And that looks pretty good. That'll pretty much do it for our start game screen. This won't currently work at the moment though, because whenever you update a document classes file, you have to go through and run this movie that has the document class again, and then it will publish properly. So now we get the cursor come up as a hand. So now it's running alright. So back over in first game, what we need to do now is to get that Swift file to actually load into our game. So for all intents and purposes, when we create a Swift file, you can treat it as a movie clip. And once we load it into our first game Swift, you can always refer to it as a movie clip and do pretty much everything you normally would do with a movie clip that's on our stage or gets added dynamically. So over here in first game, just before we actually play a game again, I'm going to add a couple of comments on what we need to do to get that Swift file into our movie clip. So there's three things we need, and there's three things we need to do, but one object that we need to create, which is called a loader object. Now this loader object allows you to load a file into Flash, and it can be a JPEG, it can be a sound file like an MP3 or a WAV, it can even be a Swift file, which is what we're going to be doing in this case. So what we need to do first off is create a loader object. Then we're going to attach an event listener. To listen for the complete event. So when the file finishes loading, it's going to run a function. And lastly, we need to tell our loader object to load. Okay, so to create a loader object, I'm just going to create a new variable, and we'll call it start loader. And this is going to be a loader type data type, and we'll just create a new loader object. So to add an event listener to our loader, it's a little bit different than how you would commonly just add an event listener to a button or a movie clip. So we say start loader, and then we want to go into the content loader info, and this is where it stores all data which sort of corresponds to the object that's going to be loaded into your class. And then we add an event listener to here, and we're going to listen for the complete event for when it completes loading, or it finishes loading our clip. And we'll make it go to a function called start loaded. And finally, we need to load our loader object. So we say start loader dot load, and it's expecting a new URL request. So we're going to give it a new URL request, and the URL that we want to load is already in our current directory, so we can just specify the name that we want to load, which in this case is going to be our start screen.swift. Okay, so now we've set up an event listener, so we need this function to be created, which I'm going to do now. So at this point here in this function, our start game screen has finished loading. So what we need to do is actually get it on the stage now. It's just sitting in memory or sitting on the hard drive and it's been loaded. So what I'm going to do here is create a new variable called menu start, and that's going to be an MC start game screen data type, just like our document class we set up here, and that's going to be equal to our event.target.content. And we need to cast this as a specific data type object. It's coming in as a display object. We want to be a bit more specific. We want to give it a reference to this, an MC start game screen, which is extending our movie clip. So I'm going to say as MC start game screen. And now that we have this menu start here, it's going to act, or actually we haven't added it to the stage yet, so it's not doing anything. So let's add child, and we'll say menu start So just put some more comments in here. Get a reference to the loaded object or loaded movie clip and add it to the stage. So we save this and give it a test now. So here's our shooter. It says click here to start. Now obviously our game's already happening, but don't worry about that for the moment. So we're clicking, nothing's happening because we haven't set up the event listener on this yet. So let's fix that up and let's stop our game from starting straight away as well. So our game's starting straight away because of this here, the play again function. So I'm going to cut that out for the moment. We don't need our game to start up straight away. And over here on our MC start, we're going to create that event listener to listen for that start game event that we're sending out. I'm going to say menu start, add event listener, and the listener, the event we created is called start game. So we're going to listen for that here. And when it gets clicked, we'll go to our function, which is going to be called play game again. And this works out pretty well because it's an event listener. We have to send in an object, and play game again already is accepting an event to come in. So that's pretty nice. And that should work. So if we give this a test, as soon as we get into our game, we can see that our start game screen's up, but our end game screen's up here as well. So when we click this, the end game screen goes away, but this screen still isn't doing anything. That's because we haven't told it to hide once we've clicked it. So when we play our game, when it's been clicked, let's go ahead and set our menu start, which we can't do at the moment because it's up here as a local variable. So I'm going to turn this into a class member so it gets promoted up here. And then I'm going to say menu start dot hide screen. So there might be a few more things we need to fix, but let's give this a test. So our start game screen's here, our end game screen's hiding underneath as well, which we need to fix that. But at least they both disappear, and now our game starts up. So as soon as we get into our game, which is the first game here, I'm just going to get our reference to our end, or our menu end. And I'm going to say hide screen. Save that and test. So here's just our start screen showing up here, and we're probably going to hide the score, ammo, and player as well, because we don't want that sort of debug info sort of sitting here. So when we click start, then the game starts and plays. So as soon as we get to the end, we should see our start game or game over screen show up. We click here to play again, and that's working pretty well. So we just got to hide these three things at the start and then show them when we start the game. So as soon as we come into our constructor function, I want to say mcPlayer.visible equals false. And we've got two text boxes up there too, which are called score text and ammo text. So score text.visible equals false, and ammo text.visible equals false as well. So then as soon as we click on our start loaded function, we click on our menu start event, and that gets triggered to run our play again. We're going to make sure that our MC players visible is true, and I'm just going to paste these others in here. Don't need that twice. I'm going to set our score text visibility to be true and our ammo text to be true as well. So let's save this, give it one more test, and that's looking pretty good. Got no score or ammo text or our player, and as soon as we click start, we're in our game. And I think that's going to be it for the actual game making video tutorials. Might do one more after this actually, and that's just going to be optimizing our game. So at the moment, if we look in our outline function, and this is some things we can fix up in the next tutorial. If we look in our game loop, pretty much everything in here is being run every frame, and some things we're actually doubling up on. So if we look at check missiles off screen, for example, which is down here, we're running through a loop that's checking all of our it's enemies. Same deal. We're running through a loop that's checking all of our missiles that are on screen, and we're also running through a check enemies off screen, which is running through another loop which is checking all our enemies once again. So these two are fine by themselves, but the problem is that in our check missile hits enemy, we're running through that same missile array again, and we're running through our enemy array again. So we're doing it twice in the same game loop, which is not really efficient. So we're going to fix that up and a few other things in the next one, and just make the game run a little bit more leaner and smoother. Because even though this is not a very big game, once you start working on big games, little things like this make a very big difference in terms of performance, especially if you're going to put it on an Android or mobile phone, for example. So yeah, hope you got something out of this one again, and I'll see you guys again next time.